Mangwanani Mwalelepo Fukenjani Dumilava Nave Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning. The news and current affairs show that remains your portal into Africa's most potent stories. You are joined by Ashwin Mberi on the 18th of August, and these are some of the stories we're looking at. Hakainde Hichilema wins Zambia presidential election. Congo's Ebola outbreak becomes deadliest in country's history. Morocco arrests 111 as security tightens around Ceuta. Canada tightens student immigration as African path to residency narrows. We'll also be getting an update from Mr. Mike Sichula, who was at the election center in Zambia, Lusaka, upon the announcement of Hakainde Hichilema becoming the president of Zambia, securing his second term. And then Talent Gore will also join us later in the show as she delivers the Zimbabwe Report. This is Africa. Good morning. Top stories shortly.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative sport tourism.
All right, let's get into our top stories. Zambia's election has wrapped up and Hakainde Hichilema has won his second term as Zambia president. This is how it looked like at the end of the polling. 2,965,326 votes for Hakainde Hichilema. His opposition, 1,855,217. Brian Mundumbile falling short of just over 1 million votes. The amount of registered voters were 8,786,300. Valid votes, 4,902,050. Rejected votes, 126,566. Total votes cast, 5,028,616, with a voter turnout of 57.23%. So those were the results. Upcoming is the video of the declaration of Hakainde Hichilema as the president, of course, tallying all the results of all the contenders in this presidential election. And following that video is the report that Mike Sichula gave us. It's already up on our social media because he sent it to us quite timely at 2:30 a.m. This was from the Election Resource Center. Have a look.
The Electoral Process Act, General Regulations 2016, Declaration of President-elect. Whereas Parliament was dissolved on the 15th day of May 2026, and whereas an election to the office of President was conducted on the 13th day of August 2026. Now, therefore, I, Francis Mangala, Zalumis State Council, being the returning officer for the election to the office of President, do hereby declare that I have, results of such election and the valid votes were given to Hichilema, Hakainde S, UPND, 2,965,326. The others who participated in the election are Mundubile Brian M, NRPUP, 1,856,217. Kalabahari CF, 19,070. Bwaria Calvin F, ZMP, 17,078. Mary Fred SP, 12,194. Katuta Given Independent, 7,574. Chansa Given M, MEE, 6,650. Mushimba Brian, OPP, 6,269. Silumbe Richard, LM, 3,304. Kunda Howard, Zawapa, 2,561. Njoku Akim A, GU, 2,496. Siamneni Ritual, NFP, 1,963. Pule Daniel, CDP, 1,348. I therefore declare Hichilema Hakainde S to be president-elect.
Well, it has been a mammoth rally. The results have been announced around 02:30 in the morning. Electoral Commission of Zambia chairperson, Madam Mwangala Zaromes, declared President Hakainde Hichilema as the duly elected president of Zambia after he amassed over 2.9 million votes against his closest rival, Mr. Brian Mundubile of the NRPUP party, who scored over 1.8 million votes. The commission did state that the results, they were still awaiting for results from 5 constituencies. Two of those constituencies had their ballot papers stolen by unknown people. So the commission is working at reconciling the results. However, despite those 5 constituencies not having their results accounted for, it was not possible for Mr. Brian Mundubile to reach over 9 or to outmuscle Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. This is why she has gone ahead to declare President-elect President Hakainde Hichilema. So it has been a very mammoth rally, mammoth race between the two. Thank you very much for having me. Africa, good morning.
Many thanks to Mr. Mike Situla for his timely reporting throughout the election in Zambia. We'll certainly be getting another report from him. This time it will appear on Second Take on Sunday, which is our political analysis show, which will be wrapping up the Zambia election from start to finish. So don't miss Second Take on Sunday on NTV, DSTV 285, GOTV 25, oneup2.com, Network Media Hub, and NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA at 9 p.m. For now, We move into the rest of our top stories. The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has become the deadliest in the country's history, killing 2,325 people, government data showed. Congo's Public Health Institute said confirmed cases had reached 4,945, including 101 detected during 24-hour periods. Now, since the May 15 declaration, weak health infrastructure, community resistance, and instability have hindered case identification and response. The case fatality ratio has risen from about 20% in early June to 46%. Now, Moroccan police arrested at least 111 people for attempting to enter Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta as security tightened following social media calls for another mass migrant crossing. Those detained included 109 migrants from sub-Saharan Africa and 2 Moroccan citizens arrested in or around Fnidek, according to a Moroccan Interior Ministry source. The attempt followed the July 30 crossing when more than 72,000 migrants entered Ceuta and at least 96 people died trying to reach European soil. Now, Canada is tightening its international student system, reducing study permit targets while making the transition from education to work and permanent residency more selective, creating tougher conditions for African students. The government expects to issue up to 408,000 study permits in 2026, including 155,000 for newly arriving international students and 253,000 extensions for existing and returning students. That target is 7% below 2025 and 16% below 2024. Now, Ottawa plans to reduce Canada's temporary population to below 5% by the end of 2027, citing pressure on housing, infrastructure, and public services. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we will be joined by Talent Gore as she delivers the Zimbabwe Report.
The death toll from the August 11 Lake Kariba boat disaster is now at 92 after 6 more bodies were recovered, confirming that the vessel was carrying at least 159 people when it sank in rough waters, far exceeding its reported capacity of 90 passengers. The Civil Protection Unit said it would only verify through registered ticket sales that 114 adults and 5 crew members were on the government-owned ferry. It said that an unknown number of children below the ticketing age were also on board and were not captured in official records. But you find out that the security guard who was ticketing the people were boarding the ferry. He said that there were 153 people, but as of yesterday, when the police confirmed another 6 people, or rather 6 bodies which were found, it now says that there were at least 159 people. And there are several survivors who are saying that they believe that there were more than 200 people on that vessel. So today, the Zimbabwe National Army is now the ones who are actually diving and recovering those bodies from the Lake Kariba. They are saying that they are going 70 meters underwater to recover those bodies. They say that usually it takes 3 days for those bodies to come to the surface. But because of the weather, because it's quite cold in Kariba right now, the bodies, they're still below below the waters, so they're actually going deep down to get those bodies. So today, hopefully, they're going to get more bodies, because there are quite a number of people who have not received the bodies of their relatives. And as of yesterday, the Minister of State for Mashonaland West Province, Minister Mariam Chombo, said that now DNA testing was now being conducted to ensure that relatives can identify the bodies of their loved ones, because as of yesterday, some could not identify their relatives. There are 6 bodies that are at the hospital, at the mortuary in Kariba, that have not been collected because they can't be identified. So now DNA testing is being done to ensure that relatives identify the bodies of their deceased relatives. And also you find out that there are families, or relatives rather, who lost 15 people in that fair, and some of them, they're saying that they have not even identified one family member who was part of that disaster. So you'll find out that a lot of bodies are still missing, and people, they have been complaining that it's taking time for the rescue mission to actually recover those bodies. But the army is doing all that it can. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has handed over the chairmanship of the regional bloc to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, and the handover took place at the 46th SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government at the Chief Albert Lutuli International Convention Center in Durban, South Africa. And in his address to the summit, President Mnangagwa called for continued investment in educational systems capable of producing solutions to the region's development challenges. He also urged SADC member states to strengthen regional infrastructure projects, citing the Kazungula Bridge in Zambia as an example of infrastructure that can facilitate regional integration and economic development. President Mnangagwa expressed concern over the ongoing conflicts in Democratic Republic of Congo and Madagascar, stressing the region's continued commitment to peace and stability. The summit brings together SADC leaders to deliberate on regional development, peace and security infrastructure, agriculture and other priorities affecting the bloc. And you've asked why Zimbabwe still has had the chairmanship, but Zimbabwe was supposed and over its chairmanship in 2024 to Madagascar, but because of the conflict that is happening, or rather that happened in Madagascar, the chairmanship was taken again from Madagascar, and it was being shared. It was now being shared between the outgoing chair and the incoming chair. So it was being shared between South Africa and Zimbabwe during the tenure of Madagascar. So right now, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has handed over the chairmanship to South Africa, because South Africa was the incoming chair. So right now, South Africa is now the chairperson of the SADC, and President Emmerson Mnangagwa handed over to the incoming because he was the outgoing chair of SADC. So yes, so President Emmerson Mnangagwa is just calling for continued support and continued support between member states, and also urging member states to prioritize security and peace, especially in Democratic Republic of Congo and Madagascar. The Zimbabwe Nurses Association has accused the government of failing to honor agreements reached in May on the review of the health-specific allowances, warning that continued delays could push health workers into further collective action, including strikes. The Zimbabwe Nurses Association, in a statement, said government and health worker representatives had agreed through the Health Negotiating Forum in May that health-specific allowances would be reviewed with the possibility of implementing revised allowances from June. However, worker representatives subsequently submitted their proposals, and the Health Service Commission communicated the matter to the Minister of Health, through the Minister of Finance rather, but almost 3 months later, there has been no substantive response or implementation. The last review of the allowances, which cover night duty, on-call, standby, nurse managers, post-basic qualifications, mental health, special health duties and uniforms, was last conducted in 2022. Well, this is according to the Zimbabwe Nurses Association, which is saying that the last reviews were last done in 2022, and now we are in 2026. And the Zimbabwe Nurses Association said that rising living costs and economic pressures had since significantly eroded the purchasing power of health workers, leaving the allowances inadequate compensation for the demanding and often unsocial condition under which they operate. You remember, from around April up into May, health workers were on a strike in public hospitals, at Parenga group of hospitals, at Salim Gabe hospitals, and at Tempilo hospitals. Health workers, they were on strike, demanding that their salaries be revealed. But since then, there had been talks between the Health Service Board and the Health Negotiating Forum in May, which had agreed that they were going to talk to the Minister of Finance, and possibly they promised that the salaries of the nurses, they will be reviewed. But rather, now we are in August and nothing has been done, and now the nurses are saying that they will go on action, or rather they will take a strike if the government fails to review or to honor their end of the bargain.